Hi, in this video I am going to talk about yesterday's actual play, the start of the Zodiac Ring campaign. If you haven't seen it, please check out the link in the description below. It was an anime style game, of course, an anime style session, and I think some important things are revealed when we take a look at the overall session, but also at the individual participation of the players. Overall, the session was quite satisfactory. It really felt, at least to me, it felt like an anime episode, a sort of action comedy type of affair. I think overall the chemistry between the characters worked so great. And I think now it's a good time to take a look at the different characters. First, I think Alberto is a really good example when it comes to the veteran or mentor sort of player character. Alberto had already participated in a similar game, the Reminisce system in the Super Smash Bros. Campaign, so he was more or less adjusted to the gag RPG or the Gratuitous Anime Gimmick RPG. So, and surprisingly enough, because of his ideas, his roleplay, and the result of the dice, he was consistent in his successes. So it really felt like a mentor sort of character or a more experienced character. After all, he's playing as this skeleton, almost undead cowboy. It is not exactly an undead creature. It is more like someone that was alive and was cursed by a witch, and he has the form of a skeleton, a typical skeleton in RPGs, but at the same time he's more like an immortal. He is alive, and yet his structure is just bones. That's it. No tissue, no organs. So it's obvious that he has seen many things throughout his existence, and he always had that cool attitude, and his actions were very calculated. Like I said, he was very consistent in his successes, and so I think he filled that part very well. And I think that the wild cards in this session were Rick and Kevin, because of the wackiness of their performances. In the case of Rick, he really played a good part, a good interpretation. He roleplayed the role of, yes, he played his role of this construct automaton that was unearthed, perhaps this sort of Terminator slash frog type creature was the participant in many wars, many conflicts, but he has some limitations to his memory, to his software, so he's not the more logical, at least in human terms, sort of character. You see how he was trying to interrogate that statue, that perhaps it was an enemy in disguise, but sometimes his more advanced functions kicked in, and that's when he obtained various information, details, pieces of information about what was going on. And he really had some amazing moments, especially because of the awesome dice results. When it comes to fighting, he did pretty well. When it comes to Alberto, he was quite consistent, but Rick, because some surprising actions, I think he surprised everyone at the table with those results, especially those final blows. So it was more like a wild card. Like I said, sometimes he missed in his actions, but because he was role-playing the character, he was also playing like that sort of wacky, not entirely there sort of robot. But then in battle, he, like I said, did some pretty amazing things. Now, when it comes to Kevin, he is a great example of a player that evolves into actual live organic roleplay mid-session. During the start, it's obvious that, yes, well, I actually invited Kevin into the game because of his conversation, and because Shoner was constantly interacting with him. So I said, Kevin surely has a lot of potential, and that's true. You saw it in the session. But at first there were some, how would you say, missteps of not being in the present. As in, I'm gonna, I wanna, I will, typical. I think it was only I'm going to, I will. So I played that as missed turns, as actions that were not carried out. And I think this is the error of many game masters. You need to point out those things within the fiction. Otherwise, you are harming the player. And not physical harm. I mean, the performance, the roleplay of the player is not happening adequately. If I were to constantly answer the out of character questions of a player, or just handle his out of present interactions, just like that, as in, oh, he said I'm gonna, but I'm going to let it slide, or oh, he said I will, but yeah, it's kind of like the present, or oh, he said I will, or I'm going to, or I wanna, whatever, and I'm going to handle it as present tense. No, it's not present tense at all. It's a wish making game. I wanna, I will. That's anti-roleplay. No. And the player is going to get tricked into that sense of, oh, I am doing things right. And he will never achieve immersion that way. But as we pulled him into the experience by my skipping of his turns and making like fun of, oh, suddenly Ake remembers that it is not a good idea to ask questions to no one in particular. So it turned into a sort of like an anime silly moment. And then he got into character, and it also fits with his character as mentioned by Alberto, because he's supposed to be like this happy-go-lucky guy, not exactly battle savvy. He's just making his way into the world, unlike Tom Melaton and the Kerminator, who are more experienced, even though the Kerminator has been reactivated after being unearthed for such a long time. He was dug up from the field. He perhaps was witness to many battles, so the battle protocols activate when the action happens. So despite those missteps or errors, it fit great with Kevin's character's personality. Yes, I think that's about it when it comes to the separate analysis of the characters. Very well done overall, but also Kevin revealed something. It is important to practice what you say. He accepted all of this. You can see his comments at the end of the session, because for example in the recent live stream by Shoner, he was saying, oh, I would never allow out of character questions, and I am always role-playing in the now. And it's very different what you preach when compared to what you act. But now Kevin has achieved that integrity that halfway through the session, he was actually role-playing. So that's why I recommend that you do not pay too much attention, or you take things with a grain of salt of those role-players out there that are constantly giving tips and advice and all of that, but they don't have actual plays, no examples to give. Perhaps they are speaking some logical things, but until you see for certain that that player has actually been acting the way that he talks about, take things with a grain of salt. But yes, overall the session was quite satisfactory. I can't wait to play the next session next Wednesday. I think this is also going to feature a strong character development that is usually accomplished through connected scenarios or campaigns, because now perhaps the Kerminator is going to become a bit more adjusted to the present time and to listening to Ake's commands, because he considers him his commander. But you also want to have those silly moments. He is still this strange construct of a species different from humanity. So those, like the interaction with the statue, that was perfect, and I hope more situations will arise like that. When it comes to Tomelaton, I think the mentor or more experienced role is also going to continue quite well and develop. Maybe along the way, other things will be revealed about Tomelaton and his quest, who knows. And in the case of Ake, this is the perfect showcase or example of an anime character that starts out pretty, how would you say, like clumsy, and develops better and better. Perhaps that clumsy charm will remain, but you will see that the intentions of the character are better manifested within the fiction. Kind of like Record of Lodoss War with Parn. He starts out pretty incompetent, but as the adventure progresses, he becomes better and better and better. Although, because this is an action comedy type of session, I think it's much better if the comedic moments continue, of course, within character. So, as always, thank you for watching my actual plays and watching my videos. If you have any comments or questions about anything, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.